the years, Sarah Ferguson and Andrew seemed like the one divorced couple who somehow made their unusual arrangement work better than most marriages. They lived under the same roof, shared the same routines, and even joked that they were the happiest separated pair anyone had ever met. But recently, everything around them has shifted, and what once looked stable is now breaking apart in ways that even insiders didn't expect. Behind the scenes, pressure has been building for months. Quiet tensions, outside scandals, and a sudden change forced on their home life have all collided at the same moment. And now the question everyone is asking is simple. What made Sarah finally step back from the man she once described as her closest ally? Stay with me, because the reasons go deeper than the headlines, and some point to a truth far more complicated than the public ever realized. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. For more than a decade, Sarah and Andrew managed something almost no one else could. They stayed close, supportive, and strangely united long after their marriage ended. When she moved into Royal Lodge in 2008, it wasn't out of romance, but comfort, a familiar space, a shared history, and a bond that made sense only to them. Friends often said the house felt calm, even warm, and Sarah herself liked to joke that they had figured out a way to make divorce look effortless. But that picture has started to crack. What once felt steady now looks fragile, and the arrangement that seemed unshakable is suddenly on the verge of ending. It's not because of arguments or dramatic blow-ups. It's because the world around them has changed faster than their unusual living setup could keep up with. And inside Royal Lodge, the shift hasn't just been noticeable, it's been impossible to ignore. But the real unraveling didn't start inside the house. It began outside, where old connections in public scrutiny started pulling at the foundation they built together.
The turning point came when past associations that had been quiet for years suddenly resurfaced with full force. Sarah and Andrew both found themselves pulled back into headlines they never wanted to revisit. The conversations, the interviews, the accusations, even with Andrew denying everything, created a wave of attention that no shared home could shield them from. Every new story brought more pressure, and every renewed mention of their ties to Epstein made their living arrangement look less like a harmless quirk and more like a public liability. What had once been viewed as an odd but harmless setup now sparked questions, debates, and criticism that neither of them was ready to face. The strain didn't just come from the media. Behind closed doors, the scrutiny reached the people who held real authority over Andrew's future. And once that happened, the ripple effects hit Royal Lodge harder than anything before, setting off the decision that would change everything about their life together. And that decision came from the one person neither of them could refuse. The moment everything shifted came when Andrew was told he could no longer stay at Royal Lodge. After losing his titles and facing constant public pressure, the message was clear. His time in the 30-room Windsor home was over. The move wasn't optional, and it wasn't delayed. He was instructed to pack up and relocate to a smaller residence on the Sandringham estate, a quiet place, far from the life he'd built over decades. For Sarah, this changed everything. The routine she'd grown used to, the stability she'd relied on, and the familiarity of Royal Lodge all disappeared in an instant. When the relocation plans became official, many assumed she would simply follow him, just as she had before. But this time, she didn't. Instead, she made the unexpected choice to secure her own living arrangements and step away from the shared home altogether. It surprised people who knew them well. After all those years under the same roof, why leave now? Why not move with him one more time?
The answer, according to those watching closely, isn't about geography, it's about something much deeper that's been building for a while. And that hidden reason is exactly what reshaped their entire relationship. For Sarah, the decision not to follow Andrew wasn't just about moving houses. It was about protecting the life she's been trying to rebuild. After years of standing beside him through scrutiny and backlash, she's become increasingly aware of how closely her name gets pulled into every headline connected to him. Even when she says nothing, the association speaks for her, and lately that association has carried more weight than ever. Friends say she still cares about him, but caring doesn't erase reality. The constant attention, the revived scandals, and the pressure surrounding his past have started to chip away at her own opportunities and public image. Staying beside him through another major shift would tie her even tighter to the fallout, at a time when she's finally trying to move toward her own projects, her own work, and her own identity. There's also a sense that the balance between them has changed. What once felt supportive now feels limiting, and insiders believe she doesn't want her next chapter defined by decisions she didn't make. Stepping away gives her space and gives her the ability to shape her future without constantly answering for someone else's past. And once that line was drawn, the meaning of their long-running partnership changed in a way they can't take back. In the end, what's happening between Sarah and Andrew isn't just about a house or a relocation. It's the quiet breakdown of a setup that worked for years but couldn't survive the pressures closing in around them. Their shared life at Royal Lodge was built on familiarity and trust, but the world around them has changed too much for things to stay the same. By choosing a separate path, Sarah is signaling a shift that many never thought they'd see. She's stepping into a life where she can move freely, rebuild her image, and make decisions without carrying the weight of someone else's controversies. And for Andrew, the move marks a clear new phase, one defined by distance, reflection, and a far smaller circle than he once had. Their bond isn't erased, but it's different now. What they built together has reached its limit, and both of them are stepping into a reality where their futures no longer unfold under the same roof. How those futures look is still an open question, and that question might reveal more changes ahead than anyone expects. If you want more deep dives into the stories the headlines barely touch, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes, and you won't want to miss what comes next.